Alright, so I am going back a little exercise. I'm going to a previous exercise which I haven't completed yet. So it was calculating frame rate. Right. So I have to create. Let me. So we'll call it 24. Right? It was 24, right? Advanced timer. Yeah. Okay. Calculating frame rate. Let's delete this. I like next window. Okay, that's okay. So I have to include the timer. Let's see where timing advanced timer. Source. Yep. Okay. So there we go. Timer. And then was there anything else? I think I should pick up timer from here. Okay. Yes. Okay, then let's pick up timer. Did I use timer here? Okay. When was the last time I used timer? I'll pick it up from there. Okay, so scrolling. Nope. Circular collision. Yeah, okay. So we will pick it up from here. Yes, replace. Then it was circular collision and timer dot c. Okay, so and I would also need the string, so I'll just copy these. Alright. Okay. So we have now that we know how to make a timer in STL, it's time to put it to use. I'm going to use a timer to measure FPS. So a quick event, a text color, and the frames per second, and then I have a timer. Okay, okay, string. Okay, so I have timer dot start, right? So let me come here and open everything. Right, okay, so I'll see if we will need space as calculating frame rate. Okay. We need debug timer. Okay, I would need the timer actually, and then we have window, and I don't need the window right now. All I am concerned with is timer, and then I want to load from rendered text. I need to have a font. We'll worry about that later. Okay, so in order to calculate the frames per second, we need to keep track of the number of frames rendered and the number of seconds passed. Okay, before we enter the main loop, we start the timer used to calculate FPS and declare a variable to keep track of the number of frames rendered. Okay, counted frames. FPS timer get text divided by 1000f. Okay, to calculate the frames per second, you just take the number of rendered frames and divided by the seconds passed. Okay. divided by the second passed. Now it is possible to be a very small amount of time passed for the first frame, have it give a roughly really high FPS. This is why we correct the value if it is really high. Okay, so set the render text. We go this and F. Okay, load from render text. We apply. Okay, so nope. Oh, it does load from rendered text. Okay, so it still needs a texture. So I'll go. This is called FPS text texture. FPS text texture. Then yeah, I want FPS text texture. Then we copy it and we slide here. Then we want this. Then I don't want to create a blank texture, but I do have to load up a font. Windows, okay, rotate, nothing like that here. If it is not minimized, set texture, render target, nope, I don't want to do any of that. Then yeah, okay, so basically these two functions, and then we render. Right, so do I have anything else? No. Okay, font. So I do have a font which I will just load it up real quick. I can load up a font like so I have, hey, it is I think TTF, right? How do I load up a font? I have no idea. Let me go to type fonts. There we go. It should be here. Open. We go. Okay. TTF font open, and I provide some size. Okay. I also have a. Okay. So I'll go. Font is already displayed. Then I want to str color. Text color, right? So I want to define the text color as black. I suppose that is what is done here. Yeah, text color, set text color black. We have a timer, dash include timer.h. Okay, so I have okay, setting the text color to be black, texture to be displayed on screen. Then I have the timer, FPS timer, right? Timer, FPS timer, and then I guess okay, I can use that. pstrlib. Okay, I guess we are using pstrlib.h. Okay, so then I also declare, okay, so I'll declare b string time text equals null. timer to keep track of miss passed. Then thus each for passing time, used for passing string as a time, right? String as a time. String test. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we are, yeah, vsync. So I want the int version average fps. I'll take the int, right, convert it into int. So I also want the int counted frames. Okay, int counted frames equals 0. Start counting frames per second. Then counts the number of frames per second. Okay, right. So in the init function texture, we no, I won't load it here, though I have initialized it. So in the load media, okay, so load media, load the font from the file, right? In the assets. Okay, so let me copy this. Right, calculating frame rate. Copy here. I'll go font equals yeah, font, right? Font equals ttf underscore open, right? ttf underscore open font. So open font. Then we provide assets. What is the font called? It's lazy.ttf, and I want to provide a size, so 28. Then we check font should not be null, error failed. Okay, error failed to, what is, sorry, so I have an error, failed to load the font. ttf error is ttf underscore get error. I suppose this is the function for getting error. Yeah, ttf underscore get. Okay. Okay. So we loaded in the font. We have bunch of variables, run function. Okay, here. Okay, so I can create my in the init function, right? Okay, so we have create, I can create, and then I can start, right? Okay, so fps, we have create texture, I create our timer. Okay, create a timer. So I'll go fps timer. Right. So I have fps timer. fps timer equals what? Right. fps timer equals timer underscore create, right? I should probably generate a tags file. Okay, so timer, then we check FPS timer should not be in null. Fail fail to create the timer. Okay, then we start the timer here. Start the timer before entering the loop. Okay, so go. I have this function timer underscore start. Right. Okay. So timer underscore start. Have FPS timer. Timer underscore start FPS timer. So it starts the FPS timer. Okay. Then what do we do? Right. Okay. So then we calculate the. Okay. In order to, we need to grab tracks number of frames rendered and the number of second passed, right? Before we enter the main loop, okay, so number of frames divided by the number of seconds. Yes. Okay. Counted number of frames. Okay. After the. Okay. Then after rendering, I increment the number of frames. Okay. I can just do it here, right? And the number of frames passed each time we complete the loop. So I have counted frames plus plus. Okay, then in the update function, calculate FPS. So I have a float of average FPS equals counted frames divided by get ticks, right? Okay. By this function, which is timer underscore get ticks, we pass in the timer FPS timer and FPS timer. Says this returns time in millisecond. I want to convert it to okay. Get ticks returns the time in millisecond. We convert it to seconds by dividing by 1000. Okay. Then if average FPS is greater than, what is that, 6, if it's ridiculously a large number, we bring it down. This can happen. Alright, so this can happen on the first frame when much much time has not passed. Right, so which fps equals 0. Right, okay. Then we set the rendered text. Okay, so I also have to create um, create a b string. So I'll go, my string is called time underscore text equals I would need to look at so that pstrlib.h, there must be a function, yeah. Okay, so b from cstr, so I want to create an empty string, so we'll go with b from cstr. Alright, has a 0. Okay. Then I check time underscore text should not be null. Error, fail to create the b string. Okay, so I just want to see if everything's working fine, right? Okay, so if we make each of the, yeah, okay, I'll change the name of the window. Calculating frame rate, calculating frame rate. Okay, so everything works. It even loads up the asset, right? Okay, so I should free timer should be destroyed, and b string should be destroyed. Okay, b destroy. Right, there was a function called b destroy. Yeah, there we go. B destroy. Okay. So first, before timer, destroy the string. Okay, so b destroy fps timer, or what is it called? Time text. Okay, I'm just go text. Then we go time text equals null, and close the timer. So I'll go, and there should be timer no destroy. Okay, void timer underscore destroy timer. Okay, let me define this. Timer underscore destroy timer. If timer That is alright. Free timer. Okay, there is all. Okay, time score. Try timer, FPS timer, and FPS timer equals null. Okay, right, so we have the timer, and I also want to destroy the. Okay, can I close the font? Okay, TTF open font. Is there a way? Still the key. TTF. Libraries. Still TTF wiki. Category API. Okay, so is there a close 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 font? Yes, open font. Close font, right? Dispose of a previously created TTF font, right? TTF underscore close font. Okay. So we will go destroy that font. I open font, and then in here we go timer destroy texture. I will also close the font. Close the font. So TTF underscore close font. This is the font. Right. This is the font, and then I say font equals null. Okay. Okay, with all these changes, right. Right. I have this. Okay. So I set average frames per second. Okay. So I'll start with average frames per. I simply say average FPS. Right. Okay. Great. Then I want a buffer. Okay. Then additional buffer. I think sprintf. I always forget sprintf. Sprintf is part of stdio.h. Okay. So I supposedly have stdio.h. So additional buffer for storing the FPS. Okay. So I'll just go char FPS buffer of say 8 bytes. I think that should be enough. Then I have to simply concatenate, right? Frames per second, then we concatenate. Store the average FPS in the buffer. So I'll go sprintf FPS buffer d, and I'll cast it to int FPS 4 byte 2 to the power 30. Yep, it's a big number. Okay, so then we concatenate. Oh, okay. Okay, create a new b string. B string. I'll go FPS time text. Yeah. Then I can simply go FPS text equals. There was a function to create a b string from another b string. So there we go. Okay, pstr. So copy pstr cpy. Where is this? Let's see. pstr cpy as time text. Then we check. FPS text should not be null. Error. Fail to create the FPS text string. Then we concatenate. Okay, then we concatenate. There must be a function of concatenate. There we go. Okay, b string and another b string. Okay, so concatenate bcat cstr. Yes. Okay, so we concatenate the FPS buffer into the string. So we go bcat cstr bcat cstr, right? Okay, bcat cstr. So I pass in FPS text and then the FPS buffer. Okay, then we load up the texture, with the font. Okay, so load up the texture with the font. Texture underscore load from rendered text. I suppose this is the function, load from rendered text. So we pass in the texture, the window, the font, the string and the color. Okay, so we pass in the texture. The texture is FPS underscore text underscore texture. FPS underscore text underscore texture, window. What else? Font. Font, then the string. B data, FPS text, and then text color. Okay, do I take in the value or do I? No, okay, I'm just taking in the value. Okay. Text color. Okay, before this, I just want to printf uh, that this is working. P data, FPS, so text. So update functions. So let's see. Make Windows. Okay, error not defined. All right, right. Error. Let's just return. Okay. So okay, 90. Okay, because 100 hertz. Right. Okay, so what was the value? Okay, 0, 27, 43. It was stable 96, 90. Okay. Hold up. How many? What is the refresh rate of this monitor? 100 hertz, right? Okay. Yeah, it's okay. So, I load up and then I want to destroy the p string again. So p destroy. There we go. FPS underscore text. Free up the memory, and okay, so we're good. Then okay, then render the text on the screen. So I go text underscore render. Okay, so texture window, X and Y, and a clip. Okay, so this is FPS text texture, pass in the window, go in screen width, uh, minus, let's go get width, texture, that divided by 2, and I want to do the same thing here, except we pass in the height, screen height, and then I am passing in what I am passing in the null. Yeah. Okay, so this should work, and okay, clear. Then we make Windows. Let's see. Make Windows. I should probably remove the printf function. Printf function here. Okay, and let's build it again. Right, okay. E7, 98, that is 99, 100. Okay, so we are pretty much done here. Okay, then I want to look at if I create, hold up, so slash window.c. Okay, so I'm creating render accelerated. Okay, so let me create the renderer, but without the vsync. Then what are the number of FPS that I will get? Windows. Ooh, bro. Okay, 900 or something, and I think Task Manager would be going nuts right now, right? No? Where is this calculating frame rate? Terminal calculating frame rate, yes. 20% CPU time. Okay. And this will jump up pretty well. Okay, got it. Okay. So I'll just quickly. There we go. Alright. Right, we have this average FPS. Okay, maybe what I can do here is, and I'm converting update function, right? Okay, so maybe I will go 0.2 f, so there are only 2 points after the float. Clear. I'll just clean it and make it again.